We hear a doubt from some of the disbelievers that they try to cause doubt in the hearts of the Muslims. How is it possible that a man in Islam is allowed to get married to 4, but your own Prophet never adhered to this point and he married more than 4? Then the answer is, it's a specific attribute that is exclusive to him alone and no one else shares with him in that regard. No one is allowed to marry these mothers of the believers, these specific women, these noble sahabiyat, after he passes away.
قل لي في الإسلام قولا لا أسأل عنه أحدا غيرك قال قل آمنت بالله ثم استقم.
Alhamdulillahi wahdahu wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dahu amma ba'd. In today's episode of the khasa'is of our noble messenger, specific attributes that are exclusive to him, we'll be mentioning an affair that is specific to him in the topic of womenfolk and marriage. The rest of the ummah, the rest of the men and women of this nation, there are certain conditions they must fulfill in order for their contract of marriage to be correct and sahih. And that includes that the woman must have a wali, a guardian, that there must be 2 witnesses present for both of them, and there must be a number of other things that are present. A man that is getting married is not allowed to exceed the number of 4 women at one time, and the likes of these affairs. As for the Prophet ﷺ, then he differed from this ummah in this topic of marriage and the womenfolk with a number of affairs. The first of those affairs is that Allah Azza wa Jal never made the amount of women, the adad that he's allowed to get married to, be specific to 4. Rather, it was from his khasa'is that he was allowed to increase upon that. And so we have that the Prophet ﷺ, in his lifetime, he was married to 11 from the female companions, from the noble sahabiyats, from the mothers of the believers. They are Khadija bintu Khuwaylid, Sawdatu bintu Zam'ah, Aisha binti Abi Bakr as-Siddiq, Hafsa bintu Umar ibn al-Khattab, Zainab bintu Khuzaymah, Salama, Hindu bintu Abi Umayyah, Zainab bintu Jahshin, Juwayriya bintu al-Harith, Habiba, Ramla bintu Abi Sufyan, Maymuna, and Safiya bintu Huyay. 11 wives of the Prophet ﷺ. 2 of them passed away in his lifetime, Khadija bintu Khuwaylid and Zainab bintu Khuzaymah. May Allah Azza wa Jal have mercy upon all of them. And they are all considered mothers of the believers. Now we hear a doubt from some of the disbelievers that they try to cause doubt in the hearts of the Muslims. How is it possible that a man in Islam is allowed to get married to 4, but your own Prophet never adhered to this point and he married more than 4? Then the answer is, as is the answer for all of the points that we've made in this series, is that this is a khasisa that is khasun bihi. It's a specific attribute that is exclusive to him alone and no one else shares with him in that regard. Allah Azza wa Jal, he says in the Qur'an, Turji man tasha'u minhunna wa tu'wi ilayka man tasha'. That Allah Azza wa Jal, he says, you, O Muhammad, may put aside whom you will from them and take to yourself from whom you will. That Allah Azza wa Jal gave him the choice to pick and choose who he wants as wives. But then we have an opposite affair that is also specific to him, that he does not share with the rest of the ummah, which is, after he married those women and they were chosen to be his wives in the dunya and they became the mothers of the believers, he was not allowed to change those wives. He was not allowed to divorce them and get married to others. Whereas the rest of the ummah are allowed to, after their marriage, even for the man that marries up to 4, that he's allowed, theoretically speaking, hypothetically speaking, to divorce all 4 and get married to another 4. وهكذا. But the Prophet ﷺ was not allowed to change the number of wives that he had after he married them and after this command came to him. Now there are many wisdoms behind Allah Azza wa Jal choosing for him and allowing him to marry more than this number. From those affairs were some of those marriages were to show the permissibility of an affair. For example, that the Prophet ﷺ got married to Zaynab bint Jahsh. And the story of that marriage is mentioned by Allah Azza wa Jal in the Qur'an. The story goes that Zayd ibn al-Harith, who was a freed slave of the Prophet ﷺ, chose to be with the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ tabannahu, he declared him to be his son. And so the people started to call him Zayd ibn Muhammad, up until Allah Azza wa Jal brought down revelation abrogating this affair and nullifying it. The affair of calling someone and taking someone other than your biological son as a child and calling them after your nasab, your lineage. And so Allah Azza wa Jal abolished this, and after that he was called back to, or he was attributed back to his original lineage, Zayd ibn al-Harith. But this affair was still in the nufus of the Arab at that time. And so Zayd ibn al-Harith, who was married to Zaynab bint Jahsh, and she is the cousin, the first cousin of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Zayd and Zaynab had a dispute and weren't getting along, and he wanted to divorce her. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised Zayd to keep her. And Allah Azza wa Jal mentions the story in the Qur'an, وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ مَا اللَّهُ مُبْدِيهِ, and you hide in your own self that which Allah Azza wa Jal is going to reveal. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِّنْهَا وَطَرًا زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا, when Zayd completed the affair with her and ended the marriage to Zaynab, we married you to her. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says, فَوْقَ سَبْعَ سَمَاوَاتِهِ, or above the seven heavens, that we married you to Zaynab. Why? So it does not become a haraj, a difficulty, a burden for those that want to get married to their ex-wives of their so-called sons that they took. Yani it's not their real biological son, because remember, if somebody has a biological son and that son gets married to a woman, that woman becomes haram for their biological father. It's not allowed for them to marry. And so the Prophet ﷺ, he had disliked to do so. But Allah Azza wa Jal wanted to make the ruling of this affair clear for the believers after him. So Allah Azza wa Jal married the Prophet ﷺ to Zaynab bint Jahsh to show clearly the affair of the permissibility of marrying the ex-wife of the so-called son that you took, but is not really your biological son. And so these are from the wisdoms, and there are other wisdoms. Some of the wisdoms was to bring the tribes closer, as some of them were strategic, and the likes of these affairs. And so all of this comes down to the hikam and the wisdoms why Allah Azza wa Jal made it permissible specifically for His Messenger Muhammad ibn Abdullah salawatu rabbi wa salamuhu alayhi. From the khasa'is that comes under this likewise is that the Prophet ﷺ was allowed to get married without a wali, without the presence of a guardian. This was specific to him. Likewise, from the things that was specific to the Prophet ﷺ that's connected to this is that if a woman offered herself in marriage to the Prophet ﷺ, that he was allowed to accept. And this was specific to the Prophet ﷺ in exclusion to the rest of the ummah. Today, if a woman wanted to offer herself to a potential spouse, the man cannot say, I accept, and then it becomes married. This was specific to the Prophet ﷺ. As for the rest of the ummah, then they have to go through the process of her wali, her guardian. There must be 2 witnesses. Then the contract occurs and the marriage is complete. From the khasa'is of the Prophet ﷺ in this topic likewise is the affair of his wives becoming mothers of the believers. All of his wives become mothers of the believers. No one is allowed to marry these mothers of the believers, these specific women, these noble sahabiyat, after he passes away. As for the rest of the ummah, if a woman is married to a man and that man passes away, then it is permissible after her iddah period that another man comes and enters into a marriage contract with her. This is permissible. As for azwaj, as for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, then no one is allowed to marry them after him. And that is why they are his wives in the dunya and his wives in Jannah, all of them. The all 9 that he left when he passed away, and the other 2 that passed away in his lifetime. So all of this is khasa'is that come under this general affair of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ and his women folk, and the topic of marriage, only specific to the Prophet ﷺ, duna baqiyatil ummah, in exclusion of the rest of the nation of Muhammad. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to send peace and blessings upon this noble Prophet, and that Allah Azza wa Jal is pleased with his noble wives, and that he gathers us with them in Jannat and Na'im. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive us and to accept our actions. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله وسلم وبارك وأنعم على نبينا محمد.